On today's show, we meet one of the Midwest's most dedicated goose hunting guides. Corey Loeffler lives for life in the field. This trainer preps dogs for the field and also as life partners. Plus, we go back in time with the legend of the duck calling game.
Minnesota Bound, presented by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems.
Hey everybody, we are so glad to have you along for today's stories.
Up first, we meet a goose calling and hunting fanatic whose passion runs very deep.
Yeah, so deep, we call him the Goose Wizard.
A wild goose chase is one way you could describe Corey Loeffler's life. His goosey ambitions began when he was just a young man.
So I got started goose calling when I was about 14 years old. My uncles took me hunting. I was blowing an old flute call.
It wasn't only hunting that gave him a goose obsession. What really fueled his fire was to master goose calls to sound just like a real goose.
I switched over to the short reed style of calls, which is what I make here, and that opened up a whole new bunch of sounds that I could do. And then started blowing in a bunch of local goose calling competitions, and then started traveling nationwide and flying across the country.
You might wonder, what's so satisfying about mastering the sound of a Canada goose?
The goose, the Canada goose, the language is as complex as turkeys. I would say more complex than elk. Their communication is so exciting to me, and being able to build a call that can fool that species into believing that you are one of their own is very rewarding.
Off he went to perfect his honk, yet something wasn't right.
I was blowing in calling competitions early on with calls that didn't exactly fit my style, and I had a couple different characteristics that I still implement in every goose call that I have today, but I couldn't find those in the calls that were on the market, so I went ahead and built my own.
And with that, his business, DRC Call Company, was established in Thief River Falls, Minnesota. A few years and competitions later, his dreams came true, competing against the goose calling elite using his own call design.
I won the North American Masters in 2010.
His calling talents and goose call designs are so good, some call him the Goose Wizard.
It's sort of an art and a science. The science being the reed and the tone board and the mouthpiece and the insert, and then the art coming in to where I need to put those pieces together in the call just like a musical instrument, and then I need to tune that, and I blow every call just to make sure that I'm getting the right sound out of that call.
His musical gifts are now giving other competitors an edge in the goose calling scene.
I think there has been somewhere around 75 to 100 wins with our calls since 2007.
His passions extend past goose calls, as he also designs some interesting goose blinds.
It's a 20-foot trailer that I pull behind the pickup. I put all the goose decoys inside of there, along with a flat top griddle. So once we get the decoys out into the field, then we get the griddle going, and it makes for a pretty comfortable goose hunt.
Corey is no longer trying to win calling contests. Now, he'd rather coach others on how to talk to geese.
I've got a free calling instructional on my website too, drccalls.com. Right on the home page, you can watch that instructional. It'll take you through everything start to finish on what call to buy, what to look for, and then different sounds that you can use while you're calling geese out in the field.
In Corey's eyes, what's good for the goose is hopefully good for the gander when it comes to winning calling competitions.
If anyone wins a calling contest with our call, I'll send them a free call. So they just have to give me proof that they won, and I'll send them a free one. And it's awesome knowing that I hopefully helped out in their success.
A goose wizard helping others, one honk at a time.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems, North Dakota Tourism, Star Bank, and by Strike Master. Minnesotans making a difference. Presented by the Minnesota Lottery.
Up next, Travis Frank heads to the pheasant field with a group of veterans. This hunt happens to be extra special thanks to a dedicated dog trainer.
At Buffalo Butte Ranch, we take aim with a few of our brave soldiers
Think they're ready?
I think so.
at the start of a classic South Dakota pheasant hunt.
Okay, here you go, Greg. One more round here. There you go.
Ranch owner Marshall Springer leads our troops
You'll have a great time, a great experience with this.
Try not to shoot the hand.
along with Sam Daly.
This is Brass. Brass is a 100% rookie.
Sam guides here each fall.
So this is Lucky. He's 3 years old.
Sam's a dog trainer from Minnesota that has a personal connection with each one of these veterans,
This is Murphy. He's about a year and a half.
especially to their dogs.
Top of the hill.
Sam's a part-time guide at Buffalo Butte Ranch. He also operates a nonprofit organization called Believe It, serving soldiers that have given their all.
Believe It trains service dogs free of charge for disabled military veterans.
Quinn Wilmarth, Ryan Conrad, Greg Graves, and Scott Lisberger have all passed Sam's year-long training course. After graduation, Sam invites them here
There we got him.
to experience fellowship in the field and the pheasant hunting rush of a lifetime.
Absolutely incredible. The hunt was fun, but it's just the piece here that it's just relaxing. There's nothing going on, not a care in the world.
Marshall's birdie property gives Ryan Conrad and Greg Graves plenty of hope.
I like it. That's perfect.
Neither Ryan nor Greg have ever shot a pheasant.
I'm excited.
There you go.
A single shot changes everything. Make that 2 shots.
It was amazing. Absolutely incredible. Right out of the gate.
Today we hunt pheasants,
That was good stuff.
but in all reality, we aim to provide relief from anxiety and post-traumatic stress.
Nicely done, man. Oh, bad boy.
This is more about healing than it is about hunting.
Your heart start beating a little bit? Yeah. Woo-hoo. Picture time.
A single photo captures a pheasant hunting first for 4 American heroes. Thing is, Sam Daly's journey looks similar to these wounded soldiers.
He wants to help the veteran when all actuality, he's the real hero in it.
There's a whole lot more to Sam's story than simple pheasant hunting acts of kindness.
Closed captioning provided by Treasure Island Resort and Casino.
Sam Daly trains hunting dogs to excel in the field, but as Travis Frank explains, Sam's mission goes well beyond the hunt.
Sam Daly has trained hunting dogs for more than 30 years. His ability to teach them has taken him on a journey far away from Midwest pheasant fields. In 2010, he received a call to train dogs for the United States Marine Corps.
It was pretty surreal, really. It was almost like being in a movie.
After talking with his wife, Sam accepted the assignment.
It was the best thing I've ever done, and it was the worst thing I've ever done. So we trained all the Marine handlers, and of course we trained all the dogs to detect the odors of buried explosives primarily. There's no fooling the dog. They're going to detect it regardless of what is used to mask or cover it.
Sam's dogs led soldiers on the front lines into enemy territory.
Saving limbs and lives, and certainly a lot of heartache for many families. So I saw not only that battlefield detection, but also the personal benefit of having a companion like that watch their back, to comfort them, to provide some joy and recreation even with them.
After serving 2 tours in Afghanistan, Sam returned home, a man without a mission.
I really was in a fog. I didn't really want to train family dogs or hunting dogs anymore. I just had really very little interest in doing something that seemed so trivial compared to what I had been so focused on for the previous 3 years.
In 2015, he found his answer. Sam started the organization Believe It, training dogs to serve soldiers back home.
This is Loyal. I got him just over 3 years ago from Believe It, and it's been a lifesaver.
So it's a non-pharmaceutical way to deal with the symptoms of post-traumatic stress.
At his kennel in Northfield, Minnesota, each dog gets trained specifically to match their veteran's needs.
This is Thor. He can fetch on command, he can push drawers closed, he can push buttons if needed.
Some dogs learn to retrieve household items, others provide emotional support that ultimately leads to freedom.
So like I mentioned earlier, a lot of them have sleep problems. Near-death, vivid, traumatic dreams. What the dog does is they go in and they recognize the thrashing behavior, the sweating, and so they'll turn on a light switch and pull the bedding off the bed. Disrupt the nightmare. The veteran can wake up in a lighted room in a more calm way.
If I'm having a bad day or stressed out, she's there, just very caring and just wants to make sure everything is better.
You know, I can get very emotional about it, but it's something that we just keep forging ahead because there's a lot of need out there.
A need that his clients say they can't live without.
Pretty much all of our clients have said this. What is your service dog worth to you? You can't put a dollar value on it. And where would you be without your service dog? I wouldn't be here without my service dog.
One hero helping another. Sam's new mission is literally saving lives.
It's been a lifesaver, like I said in the beginning. It's pretty great.
In South Dakota's bird country, Sam Daly's mission comes full circle. Providing freedom for heroes that fought to save ours.
These veterans earned it. They earned it.
I never thought that I would be one of the guys that would be able to get the help that I needed. And I'm just so proud to be a part of the program. He's a good pup. He's a good pup. Shake. Good boy.
Straight ahead, Ducky Talk from one of the best to ever hunt.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Radco Truck Accessories, Pearson Salted Nut Roll, and by Totem Resorts, the premier destination for world-class fishing.
Today's Minnesota Bound Classic takes us back to 1995.
The year Ron Shera met one of the nation's most prominent duck callers.
When the duck season is open, you'll likely hear his sounds echo through the murky dawn of an Arkansas morning. To a duck's ear, this is music. Music played by Buck Gardner, a 46-year-old man who blew his first duck call at the age of 6 and never got over the thrill of its sound. You're listening to the world's best duck imitator, and Buck can prove it. Check the ring on his calling finger. The fine print says, World Duck Calling Champion.
I mean, most of the time these teal just come in, what's happened is they've seen these rings, you know, and they just come in and give up.
In 1994, Buck Gardner won the most prestigious title in duck calling, becoming the 59th world's champ in a contest held every November in Stuttgart, Arkansas. The following year, 1995, Gardner faced off against other previous Stuttgart winners and became only the 9th person in America to win the Champion of Champion contest held once every 5 years.
The 1995 is Buck Gardner.
Well, it's pretty neat to be the best at anything, but this is something I worked at hard for 15 years. I always tell everybody this to get a little something out of it, but you're looking at a 13-time loser is what you're looking at, and a 2-time winner. The neatest feeling was when there wasn't but 2 of us left standing there. It's me and a buddy of mine named Ricky Dunn, and they said this year's first runner-up is the best sounding word I ever heard was Rick. When they said Rick Dunn, because that meant there wasn't nobody left but me.
Having won the best of the best, Gardner no longer is eligible to compete. That means he spends his autumns with Maggie. Maggie the lab, as the two of them hunker in a duck blind, usually with a few invited companions who gather to hunt with the maestro caller.
Good Lord, there's about 400 coming down. Just let them work. When you see
The champion is also a master duck hunter who never seems to tire of just calling them in.
Man, I just love coming out here and seeing them. I like seeing them do this ballet, do a dance. I mean, really swing and turn and fall and dip and respond to a call.
The champ and Maggie are like a team. The dog retrieves the birds, and when that job's finished, the champ picks up his instrument again for another contest with the real birds. Eyes peeled to the sky, his diaphragm pumping air, Buck can turn the quacks and clucks and tucks into a flock of chatty mallards. And every set of passing birds is treated to a rendition from the champ. Away from the duck marshes, Buck is at home in his duck camp, a place he calls the Country Club.
About to feed you Yankee boys some grits, some hominy grits. And whether you want to or not, you're gonna like it.
Where he is also chief cook and bottle washer.
How you like your eggs scrambled is what I always ask everybody.
To make this the perfect story, Gardner also is in the duck call making business and sells thousands of his rich in tone calls to folks who can only wish to sound like the world's best.
Yeah, it'd be like a guy that that owns General Motors, winning the Indianapolis 500 driving his own car. I mean, I have every intention of taking as much advantage of this as I possibly can.
When the ducks fly over Arkansas, they don't all listen to the champ, but he says that's okay too. Buck likes calling ducks, but he'd rather be remembered for something else.
I would like to be a good father, a good friend. I think I've already got my name on something else that's going to stay there for a long time, so on my tombstone, I'd rather have something a little closer to what God wanted me to be. Everybody unload. That's the end of a duck hunt.
Now that is impressive. Duck calling is like playing a musical instrument. Have you tried it?
I'm good at neither.
Really? You gotta give it a go sometime.
Someday.
Well, that about does it for us. We'll see you back here next week.
In the meantime, don't forget to introduce a kid to the great outdoors.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433.